Hey everybody, it's Queen Jelly here, and welcome to or welcome back to the Toy Box. This is a doll and toy themed YouTube channel meant for adult collectors like myself. Today's unboxing is going to be of the Morticia doll, which is the newest collector from Monster High. Before we get into the unboxing though, we are going to start with a tiny bit of a doll chat today. This is something that I like to do where I'll just kind of talk to the camera for a little bit and kind of discuss things with you guys. If you are not interested in that, no worries at all. Just use the timeline down below and scroll over until you find the area where I'm actually unboxing the doll. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is that, as you can kind of tell, I'm a little bit tongue-tied. That is because I worked today, but I'm trying to get this filmed for you guys because this doll came out on the 4th and it is now the 9th, and she has just arrived, which actually isn't too bad of a turnaround time, especially since I ordered mine directly from Mattel. But not this weekend, but the next, I am actually going to be at a convention. So I am trying to get some videos pre-filmed so that there's still content for you guys and I don't have to stress about it because it is already filmed and ready to go. And so that means that I do have to get some filming done and not at the most ideal time. So sorry if I'm a little bit off, but there's that. And then the other thing besides the convention, which hopefully, if all goes well, while I'm at a convention, you'll actually have a little mini marathon because I'm hoping to have the next round of Monstrous Mysteries, which is the Hollywood ones. I'm hoping to have those out and ready for you guys. I already have 2 out of 3 of them filmed, so that's pretty good. And like I said, today I'm doing Morticia, and then I already have some other videos pre-filmed, so you'll definitely have content. It'll just be, at this point, not a matter of if, it'll just be a matter of what. But I digress. We're getting back to the fact that, like I said earlier, this is currently the most current Skeletor, the newest Skeletor. I just want to point out that I have not taken a peek at her yet. I just took her out of the shipping box to make recording easier, but I haven't seen her outside of the tissue paper yet. The other thing is that I'm still having issues with my ring light, so that's why I'm not using it for this, so I apologize. I know I look very dark, but I tried to get a replacement one and the wrong one came in, so I have to wait and get another replacement. Thankfully, at least I'll be able to return that one since it was the wrong one and get a different replacement instead. But that's that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Coraline Skeletor. So I've gone back and forth on whether or not I wanted to get her. At first, based on the fact of the IP alone, I wasn't that interested. It's not one of my favorite movies. It's not something that, like, I can quote word for word. Like, not that that's a, like, requirement. However, I've been trying to be a lot more selective with my Skeletors and not just purchasing everyone that comes out. I really either based it on, it either has to be a fandom that I really like, or it has to be dolls that I really like the look of. So we all know how hard Skeletors can be sometimes, especially when they're very anticipated. So at first I wasn't going to get it. Then when the images came out for her and I saw her face, which I know everybody else hates, but I really like her face and I really wanted her for the base doll alone. Like, the outfit really doesn't really mean that much to me at all. Like, it was either here or there, like, take it or leave it. I do really appreciate the amount of accessories that she comes with. I really wish that we would see more of that. However, I have a theory that that might be related to the IP because maybe they didn't pay as much for the rights as they did for a different, like, say like Emily. Maybe they had to pay a lot more for the rights to use her likeness than they had to pay for the Coraline likeness. You know what I'm saying? So if they had to pay more for the branding, the rights to the character, then that's less that they're able to put into the final product. So my guess is that they didn't have to pay as much for the rights for Coraline. That's just a guess, a theory, nothing definitive, but I do like the amount of accessories that she comes with, and I hope that maybe we'll see more of that. My only thing is that I can't justify $70 for a base doll that I like. I don't like enough other things in that doll to justify it. So I have decided that I'm going to wait. My current verdict is kind of like what I did with Megan, is I like her, but not enough to pay full price. So if after the 2 weeks, when the influencer codes are finally actually work, I'm gonna try and purchase her then if she's still available. If she's not, and she wasn't meant for me. But if I am able to get her either on sale or at a discount, then I might be able to get her. So just know it's not a hard permanent no, never, ever, but she will not be purchased right away. If you guys were interested in my thoughts on the Coraline doll. I think that's all that I have for today. As far as the chat, of course, we have the unboxing still to do. So thank you so much for listening. If you did, again, I apologize for being kind of out of it. So thank you so much for watching so far. Please don't forget to do all the YouTube things like, comment, and subscribe, which you guys have been doing so much of it, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate you just for being here, but I appreciate you especially if you do those other things, because it helps get the channel out into the algorithm so that other people can also enjoy. Anyway, that's enough for me for now, so we're gonna go ahead and get to the unboxing. All right, so here we are now on the desk. As you can see, again, she's still wrapped in her tissue paper. We'll go ahead and get her unwrapped. So the front is a big open box. It says Monster High X Wednesday, Morticia Addams. We can see the doll and the stand from the front, which is kind of interesting. Usually they hide the stand in the back. This one is one of the waist clip designs that has the sidebars on it. They've been getting better about giving us those side clips. And I personally, I've always been very anti saddle stand because the dolls don't stay on them. But with those side clips, they're so much better because they actually still attach to the dolls in some way. And then they hold underneath, so they're not boxing in their outfit, which is really nice. We'll see how those last over time because, granted, I will say my Alice in Wonderland doll, she has a very heavy top, as you can see, and she has the side clips. They are built a little bit differently than the new stands are. So these ones are actually built in to the stand itself as opposed to being an additional clip. But I've had her for years. I actually have a video of her on my channel if you guys are interested. But yeah, I've had her for a very long time. And again, she is very, very top heavy, but this stand has worked incredible. Even when she falls over, I still always find the stand with her. And most of the time the falling over is my fault because of where she is. Sometimes when I'm taking dolls on and off of this shelf here, she'll fall back because she's on the back of it. So again, that's not a stand problem, that's a me problem. But yeah, she does have that kind of she does have the hip clips along with the saddle stand, and I have always loved that stand. So I'm glad to see more of it. I know that it came with the Aliens collector, which I'm still waiting for mine to come in, my replacement one to come in the mail, and then I have it on Emily. So again, glad to see that that's been a thing. On the side here, we have an image of Morticia. On the back, we have some words, which I will read shortly. And then I just want to look at the other side. It says Monster High X Wednesday. Honestly, it's been a while since I've unboxed the other two that I have, so I don't remember if they have this same image on the side, but this feels very Skeletor. But I do believe that Morticia is also widely available like those two are or will be. I haven't seen her, obviously she just dropped, so I haven't seen her in stores yet, but that doesn't mean she isn't coming to stores. There's been other dolls that have gotten a wide release, including being available at other retailers like Walmart and Target that I never saw in stores. So I don't know really what wide release means anymore. I think it just really depends on the doll. But I have seen Bianca in stores before. She's not one that I've gotten because I just, as a character, I don't really care too much for her. So since I'm being more selective with my dolls, I just haven't gotten Bianca yet. If I find her on a good sale, I probably would though. But like I said, I'm super excited about this one though, because I did miss the original drop when they did the Wednesday and Morticia 2-pack. Now, I know this isn't the same because they are based on different source materials. The only like thing that's the same is the fact that they're both the same like base character. But again, I'm just glad to now be able to have a Morticia doll just in general because I really love her. All right, on the back, it says Morticia's Morbid Musings. Like me, Wednesday has a lethal touch of mystery and body disposal. Writing runs in our bloodline, after all. As a matter of fact, I've just published my 28th novel, a chilling tale of intrigue and passion. To me, writing is like dancing the tango, best enjoyed with a thorny rose between your teeth. And every writer needs a room of one's own. The more haunted, the better. There's nothing like spilling black ink on a page and catching the faint whiff of a despair-scented candle to get the words flowing. And then we have it in a second time underneath in a second language that I cannot read. I do apologize. But that's it. Pretty simple because it is one of the more widely released design boxes. It doesn't have like the slip cover or anything like that to go over. But this still, like I said, does still feel very much like the other collectors. It just does feel a lot more narrow. And then again, it doesn't have the slip cover. But I feel like even like the other single doll releases have had a bit of a wider box. All right, so I think it's time to go ahead and get her unboxed.
And I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. The gas in the back of the set, never leave. She's so bad, can't beat the bread. The gas in the back of the set, never leave. She's so bad, can't beat the bread. The gas in the back of the set, never leave. She's so bad, can't beat the bread. The gas in the back of the set, never leave. She's so bad, can't beat the bread. I'm inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want. The gas in the back of the set, never leave. She's so bad, can't beat the bread. The gas in the back of the set, never leave. She's so bad, can't beat the bread. The gas in the back of the set, never leave. She's so bad, can't beat the bread. The gas in the back of the set, never leave.
Well, I have her out of the box now. However, I'm only going to partially fault the doll on this one. If you guys have been on my channel before, I do have dexterity issues in my hands, especially when it comes to really tiny things. Sometimes they just give up. And so when I was unboxing her, both of her rings came off. And like with Caddy here, she had a ring, no problem. With Emily, she had a ring, no problem. But these both came off while unboxing. So that means it was the way that they were packaged and not necessarily something that I did. Because again, I can remove dolls without losing their rings. But they both came off, and when I was putting on the plain silver band that belongs on this hand, which I believe is meant to be her wedding band, so extra embarrassing. But unfortunately, that one did go out of my hand while I was trying to put it on. Like, I literally had it like on her finger, and it just, my hand just gave up. And it fell and it went into my sewing supplies, and so I don't know when / if I'll ever find it, but I had to give up because I really need to get to filming. Plus, it just trying to look was just not going well for me. So again, I apologize that part of this doll won't be here for the review. I will be putting a picture in here of a screenshot of what her other ring is supposed to look like, and on my own time I will continue to look for it. As I was trying to say before the scam call interrupted, I am also very upset, trust me. But unfortunately, if you guys have been here before, you'll know this is not the first time, nor will it probably be the last time that I have lost a small item because of my dexterity. So again, I apologize, but the show must go on at this point. So with that being said, we will start with our bottom to top. We did already talk about the stand, but I just want to show you what it looks like all together. There also is this like indent here before it goes up. I don't know like if that's a requirement of like this like style of stand, or if that will help with long-term durability or like long-term like stability. That's the word I was looking for. But it seems to help. I mean, on top of having those light clips, these stands also don't have the dolls like floating in midair, which has been my biggest problem with most saddle stands. So again, I'm pretty happy with the stand. They also have the base matches the base that we saw for Wednesday and Enid. And also, I forgot to mention, but if you saw, this was wrapped in paper during the unboxing part. So I'm glad to see that they're continuing to do that, especially for something that's like hidden in the back that you don't see anyway. And the other thing during unboxing, I also noticed, because she is the slim box style, for lack of a better term, she also doesn't come with a certificate of authenticity, which is perfectly fine with me. I don't really care too much for those anyway, especially since I have no intention of selling my collection anytime soon. So if hopefully not ever, but just saying. Anyway, with her, she has these really large shoes, which are absolutely super cute. So they are solid black from the front, and then on the back we have a heart design on one heel, and then the other heel we have a double fly trap design. Again, I feel like these are a little bit much for object heels. I am starting to also join the camp of getting a little bit worn out with them. I do think that they can be done really well. And I don't hate these ones for sure. Like, I think these really fit the character, especially this one here with the two fly trap heads. What I'm starting to feel like is I wish that they would pick one design and do them on both heels. I don't think the mismatched heels really work for me, especially depending on the design and especially depending on the character. I feel like Morticia is very well groomed, very well maintained, and she would have probably done better with, again, having kind of more matching heels. Whether they were both the hearts or both the fly traps, I just think it would have looked a lot cleaner than having the mismatched object heels. Now, with that being said, though, I do understand that that is, oh, this is not, this is not Wednesday's original outfit. So I'm going to throw in a picture of the Wednesday's original shoes, but here is Enid. So I do understand that in this collection so far, they have all had mismatched heels. So it does make sense. But if you look at the Wednesday ones, they were both solid black. So they blended into the shoes. And then Enid is a bright colored person that wears like a lot of different tones and textures. So her having two different colored heels / two different items makes sense for her character. So I can see where they were coming from in doing it, again, because that's what the other ones have already had. But personally, I think that those ones kind of fit the expression of those characters. So I would have liked to see the adjustment with this doll. Again, not hating on it, just giving my personal opinion. Next up, we have a red silky underdress / skirt. I will be investigating whether or not this is a separate piece later on, but she basically has two separate layers going on here. So we have a silky red underlayer and then a black outer layer that is more of the velveteen type material. It was pinned to heck and back. I still found one right here, into the box. So of course we have all those micro holes everywhere, but because of it being a black and textured material, hopefully most of those will kind of blend right in. But just know it was pinned a lot into the box. So I know it's kind of hard to see because it is all black, but there's a bit of ruching right here on the skirt to help keep the structure and make it very tightly fitted. It goes from her hip here all the way down towards the split here. The split is just below her hips and goes all the way down to the floor, where obviously it spreads out. Her sleeves are bell sleeves. They do appear to be lined on the inside, which is nice. She has a low cut collar up here at the top. And then her hands have painted nails on them. Again, this hand is meant to have a ring on this finger here. And then the other hand has this ring with a black jewel on it. She does have matching earrings. So they are silver, kind of like chain design, with a triangle at the end that's open, and then a closed black triangle or upside down triangle underneath them. Just so you guys know, I have seen season 1 of Wednesday, but I have not watched season 2. So if there is some sort of reference that I'm not getting, please just excuse that. So if there's something that's like super obvious that I'm not pointing out, that is why. And then we come up to her face, which is absolutely gorgeous. I believe this is a new sculpt for her. They have done new sculpts for all the other characters, and in my opinion, she looks incredibly amazing. And so I do believe that, and a lot like the actress, who I'm so sorry, I'm not sure what her name is, but I think she looks just like her. So I think they did an amazing job with her face, as like I said, they've done with the rest, in my opinion, with the rest of the Wednesday dolls as well. She has red, deep burgundy lips, which I absolutely love this color. It's actually pretty similar to a color that I used to wear all the time. And then she has a very thick, heavy blush, which I really like because it actually really helps the rest of her skin look a lot more pallid because this spot is so bright here. And then she has deep purple eyeshadow above and below her eyes. And she has dark brown eyes that have her initial as catch lights. Hold on, let's get a little bit closer so we can see that. So I brought her face really close here. I know it's a little blurry. But first of all, in her scleras are spider webs. And then she also has a Morticia Addams. So she has her initials in her eyes, which I think is a very interesting choice. I'm not against it, but I'm not entirely sure like where that's coming from, but it is quite unique. And then she has thin brown eyebrows, and to top everything off, she has this incredibly long black hair that does go all the way down to past her knees, actually. It goes to about mid-thigh, or mid-calf, sorry. So her hair is actually quite long. It is a bit choppy. It cut in the back. I'm assuming it's intended to be that way. I feel like it's just very slightly off-center part. But that could also be just because of the way that her face is framed. It feels like her is a little bit heavier on this side than this side. But again, I really love her hair. It does feel a little tacky, like it probably has just a little bit of product in it, but otherwise feels really nice. I don't believe that it's poly. I believe that it is one of the slightly better hair fibers just because it is so soft. Again, it does feel a little bit tacky, but otherwise it feels really nice and flows really nice. Let's go ahead and see the construction of the dress. So the interior, if you flip it inside out, you can see that the red skirt area is attached. So it is all one piece and is sewn in, but it is sewn in pretty high. So at least it makes it so that you don't have to worry about it accidentally showing unless you're doing something strange with the doll. I wasn't going to show you her build because it is just the typical big sister body, but I do want to show you something really quick. That is another thing that I'm going to have to dock her for, I guess, for lack of a better term, but I don't know if the video is catching that up, but she's rattling. So that means that somewhere in her production, an extra piece of plastic got loose inside her body and is now permanently in there making noise whenever I move her. So that is a bit unfortunate. So I decided to grab down my Elvira doll just because I wanted to see what they look like next to each other. And I noticed that even she had a ring that is also rubber banded on. So I really don't know what happened with this one. I don't know if I did something wrong when I was unboxing or if they just didn't rubber band them on. But again, I just wanted to say that for me personally, I wish that they were either better attached or had been molded into the hands, and you are 100% allowed to disagree with me on that, but it would have saved me a lot of trouble, and I would still have it if it was attached differently. So again, I know it's not 100% on the doll, but at the same time, if my other dolls still have their rings and this one doesn't, what was the difference? In this case, it was that they weren't attached the same way. So but yeah, here they are next to each other. Again, they're both on the big sister body, so that's why they are the same height. And then here she is next to Wednesday. Wednesday is on the regular body, and then, like I said, Morticia is on the taller body. All right, attempt number 2 at final thoughts. I really apologize, but losing that ring really dumped my enthusiasm. And again, I know that it was partially on me, but at the same time, I just feel like I wish it hadn't been a possibility for it to be on me in the first place. That I can understand why people would want it to be an additional accessory, because it really could be considered something that adds value to the doll, considering as this was a $45 doll, but she is rather simple. However, this is a very simplistic and basic styled character. I think that they did a really good job of bringing her to life. I love her face, this amazing hair. I think the dress is well constructed, especially for Mattel. There is a little bit of lining here in the sleeve. This red layer is a separate layer, so it does feel a little bit more luxe in that as well. I love the little bit of ruching here, so it's not just a very just plain black dress with nothing going on. It still has a nice fit and a nice design. And again, I think she looks really good with the other two. I think she fits into this collection nicely, again with the having the same rounded stand. And I'm glad that they did put her on the big sister body, so she's at least a little bit taller than the other two. And yeah, so overall, I probably would say like a 7 out of 10. Definitely glad to have her in my collection. I definitely think she's a better addition than some of the other dolls we've gotten lately, because I don't really have any major complaints on the base design itself. I think everything works well, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to do all the YouTube things like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, but don't forget, I appreciate you just for being here. That being said, we'll see you very soon for the next one. Bye.